Imagine your own son leaving you to freeze to death in a blizzard. That's exactly what my son, Tyler, did to me last Christmas Eve. It was 14 degrees outside, snow falling thick and fast. Behind me, the $850,000 house Tyler claimed he built from nothing. In front of me, my broken-down Toyota, refusing to start. "Dad, walk home," he'd said, his voice laced with disdain. "You need to learn independence." It was 3.8 miles through the icy Denver suburbs. It took me an hour and 23 minutes. My fingertips turned black from frostbite. But Tyler made one critical mistake that night. While he was inside, bragging to his rich friends, I was walking home, meticulously planning his financial destruction. Because Tyler, in his arrogance, never bothered reading the fine print when I helped him start his business 8 years ago. The next morning, one phone call. $680,000 frozen. His mortgage bounced, his luxury car repossessed, his business partners fled. Tyler learned something that day. The old man you abandoned in the snow might just own everything you think is yours. My name is Edward Bennett, 64 years old, a retired postal worker. I drive a beat-up Toyota and live in a modest townhouse that most people would call lower middle class. Want to know how a simple postal worker destroyed a real estate empire? Hit subscribe and drop a comment with your city below. I love seeing where everyone's watching from. Here's how Tyler's world collapsed in 24 hours. Tyler's disrespect didn't start that Christmas night. It had been building for months, a slow, insidious erosion of our relationship. 3 weeks before the party, he invited me to Romano's Steakhouse, his favorite place to impress clients. I thought, maybe, just maybe, things were getting better between us. I was wrong. Tyler ordered the $68 ribeye. I, ever mindful of my budget, asked for the $22 chicken special. When the server brought our meals, Tyler shook his head, a look of profound disappointment on his face. "Dad, you're embarrassing me again. This isn't Denny's. Order something decent." His client, a mortgage broker named Kevin, looked visibly uncomfortable. Tyler didn't care. "Kevin, my father here thinks $22 is expensive for dinner. Different generation, you know. They grew up during rationing. Never learned to appreciate quality." I stayed quiet, ate my chicken, and paid the entire check, $134, including tip. Tyler never said thank you. 2 weeks later, the same pattern, a different restaurant. Tyler was hosting a networking event for real estate agents. 10 people around the table, all in designer suits, expensive watches, their loud conversations filled with talk of commission checks. Tyler introduced me to the group, a condescending smile playing on his lips. "Everyone, this is my father, Edward. He's retired postal service, worked the same route for 32 years, never took any risks, never built anything significant. But hey, at least he's got a government pension, right, Dad?" The table offered polite, awkward laughter. I smiled, nodded, and said nothing. But I noticed things Tyler didn't think I noticed. The woman sitting next to Tyler's wife, Jennifer, kept glancing at me, with recognition in her eyes, like she'd seen me before, but couldn't place where. The man across from me, an older gentleman in his 50s, stopped laughing when Tyler mentioned my name. He studied my face for a long moment. Tyler continued, oblivious. "Dad lives in this tiny townhouse, in the old part of town. Probably worth what, Dad? $180? Maybe $200 if the market's good?" "Something like that," I said. What Tyler didn't know was that I knew exactly what his house was worth. I knew his monthly mortgage payment, $7,800. I knew his car payment, $912 for that Lexus lease. I knew because I'd been covering the difference between his income and his expenses for 8 years. But Tyler assumed I was just a simple postal worker who didn't understand modern finance. The dinner bill came to $893. Tyler looked around the table, then looked at me. "Dad, since you're here, maybe you could help with this. I mean, I'm always picking up restaurant tabs for business. Gets expensive." I pulled out my credit card, the same basic banking card I'd used for 30 years. Tyler smirked. "Hope it doesn't get declined, Dad. This isn't exactly grocery store prices." It went through fine. On the drive home, Tyler explained his philosophy to me. "Dad, you've got to understand something. The world changed while you were delivering mail. Success today requires vision, risk-taking, building relationships with quality people. He gestured toward his house as we pulled into his driveway. I built this empire from nothing. My business generates 6 figures annually. My client list includes some of the wealthiest families in Denver. I looked at his house. Beautiful property, professionally landscaped, 3-car garage, swimming pool in the back. You did well for yourself, Tyler. Thanks, Dad. And look, I'm not saying you didn't work hard. Postal service is honest work. It's just limited. You know, small thinking for a small life. I nodded. Different generations. Exactly. Your generation played it safe, never took chances. My generation understands that wealth requires leverage, calculated risks, strategic investments. Tyler's wife, Jennifer, appeared at the front door. Designer dress, expensive jewelry, perfectly styled hair. Tyler, honey, your father's staying for coffee? No, Jennifer. Dad needs to get home. Big day tomorrow delivering. Oh, wait. He's retired. Tyler laughed at his own joke. Jennifer looked embarrassed. Edward, you're always welcome here. I know. Thank you, Jennifer. Tyler walked me to my car. My 15-year-old Toyota looked shabby parked next to his Lexus. Dad, maybe it's time to consider upgrading this thing. I mean, what if it breaks down? You'd be stranded. It's reliable. Barely. Look, if you need help with car payments, I can recommend some good financing options. Build your credit back up. Tyler assumed my credit needed building. I drove home that night thinking about leverage, strategic investments, calculated risks. Tyler was right about one thing. My generation did understand those concepts. We also understood the difference between managing money and controlling it. But Tyler was about to learn that lesson the hard way. The Christmas party was 3 weeks away. I decided it would be the perfect opportunity for some education. After that dinner, I couldn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with my coffee and my calculator. The same calculator I'd used for 20 years. Still worked perfectly. Tyler's monthly expenses, let me break this down. Mortgage payment, $7,800. Car payment, $900. Property taxes, $600 monthly escrow. Homeowner's insurance, $415. Pool maintenance, $280. Landscaping service, $350. Just housing and transportation, over $11,000 every month. Tyler's real estate commissions were good when he closed deals, but real estate isn't salary. Some months he made $15,000. Other months he made $3,000. The difference came from somewhere. I pulled out 8 years of bank statements. My bank statements. Monthly transfers to Tyler's accounts. September, $9,200. October, $9,200. November, $9,200. Every month for 8 years. Never missed one. Total transferred, $747,200. But Tyler told people he built his empire from nothing. I understood why he believed that. When Tyler started his real estate business in 2016, I offered to help with startup costs, offered to co-sign his business accounts, help with cash flow during slow months. Tyler accepted, but he saw it as temporary assistance. Just until I get established, Dad, maybe 6 months. 6 months became 8 years. The bank paperwork still listed me as primary account holder. Tyler was secondary signer. I'd meant to change that once his business stabilized, but Tyler never asked about changing it. The Christmas party arrived. Tyler's house was transformed into a winter wonderland, glittering with lights and expensive decorations. 43 people, all dressed in their finest, mingled with champagne flutes in hand. I stood quietly by the fireplace, observing. Helen Morrison, my bank manager, was there with her husband. James Caldwell, a prominent Denver attorney, was chatting with a group of investors. These were the people Tyler wanted to impress. These were the people who would witness his downfall. Tyler, fueled by champagne and hubris, decided to make a spectacle of me. He gathered everyone's attention, then turned to me with a smirk. Dad, why don't you tell everyone your net worth, your total savings after 32 years of steady work? Go ahead, Tyler. Jennifer whispered, Stop. No, it's fine. Dad's proud of his simple life. Aren't you, Dad? Tell them about your retirement savings, your investment portfolio, your real estate holdings. I looked around the room. 43 successful people watching this humiliation. Tyler waited. Come on, Dad. Don't be shy. These people understand money. They won't judge you for being poor. The word hung in the air like a poison cloud. Poor. Helen Morrison closed her eyes. James Caldwell shook his head slightly. Tyler smiled triumphantly. See, this is what I mean. Dad's so ashamed of his financial situation, he can't even discuss it. I spoke quietly. I'm not ashamed, Tyler. Then tell them. Tell them your net worth. I don't think that's necessary. Tyler laughed. Of course you don't. Because you know it's embarrassing. You know it proves my point about your generation's failures. He turned back to the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, my father, 64 years old, a lifetime of steady work, and too embarrassed to admit his total wealth wouldn't cover my monthly expenses. That's when something snapped inside me. Not anger, something colder. Tyler, you're right about one thing. We are different generations. Exactly! Finally, some honesty. Your generation believes in appearance over substance. Mine believes in substance over appearance. Tyler's smile faltered slightly. I continued. You want to know the difference between our generations? Your generation borrows money to look successful. My generation builds money to be successful. Dad, you don't understand modern. Your generation confuses leverage with ownership. My generation understands the difference between managing money and controlling it. The room was dead quiet now. Tyler's face reddened. Dad, you're embarrassing yourself. These people understand real wealth. They know the difference between. Tyler, I think it's time for me to leave. Finally. Yes, maybe you'll understand this party isn't really your crowd. I walked toward the front door. Tyler followed me, still talking. Dad, look, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but someone needed to be honest with you. You can't live in the past forever. I put on my coat, my 15-year-old winter coat from Walmart. Tyler opened the front door. Cold air rushed in. It was snowing harder now. Where's your car? He asked. It wouldn't start. Well, call an Uber or something. I'll walk. Tyler laughed. Dad, it's 14 degrees outside, and you're 64 years old. I'll be fine. Seriously, Dad. Call someone. Call a taxi. I stepped outside. The snow was coming down heavily, 6 inches already on the ground. Tyler stood in his doorway, warm light behind him, looking at me, standing in the blizzard. Dad, don't be stubborn. This is ridiculous. I started walking down his driveway. Tyler called after me. Dad, you're being dramatic. It's 3 miles. 3.8 miles, actually. But Tyler never was good with details. I heard the front door close behind me. The valet parking attendants looked shocked as I walked past them into the storm. One of them called out, Sir, do you need help? No, thank you, I said. I'll walk. And I did. I reached my house at 10:47 p.m. 1 hour and 23 minutes of walking in 14-degree weather. My fingertips were numb. My feet were soaked through. But I was alive. And I was completely clear about what needed to happen. Monday morning, I made hot coffee and sat at my kitchen table with my banking files. 8 years of records. Every transfer. Every deposit. Every account agreement. Tyler was about to get his education in modern finance. Monday, December 24th. Christmas Eve. The bank opened at 9:15. I was there at 9:10, waiting in the lobby. Helen Morrison arrived at 9 sharp. She unlocked the front doors and saw me standing there. Edward, my God, what happened to your hands? My fingertips were still bandaged from the frostbite. Long story, Helen. Do you have a few minutes to help me with some account maintenance? Of course. Come back to my office. Helen's office was professional and comfortable. 20 years of banking awards on the walls, family photos on her desk. Edward, I have to ask, after what I witnessed Saturday night, are you okay? I'm fine, but I need to make some changes to my account structure. Helen pulled up my files on her computer. What kind of changes? I want to exercise my primary account holder rights on the Tyler Bennett business accounts. Helen's expression shifted to complete understanding. The accounts where you're listed as primary and Tyler is secondary signer. That's right. Helen scrolled through the records. Edward, there are 4 accounts here. Business checking, business savings, business line of credit, and personal checking. Combined balances of, let me calculate, $735,000. I want to freeze Tyler's access to all 4 accounts, effective immediately. Helen looked at me carefully. Edward, that's a significant action. Are you sure? I'm completely sure. May I ask what prompted this decision? I told her about Saturday night, the public humiliation, being left in the blizzard, the things Tyler said about my financial situation. Helen listened without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Edward, I have to tell you something. On Saturday night, after Tyler made those comments about your finances, 3 people in that room asked me about your real account status. What did you tell them? Nothing. Client confidentiality. But Edward, they knew Tyler was wrong. James Caldwell especially. He looked mortified. James set up the original account structure. Exactly. He knows Tyler's business only exists because you've been funding it. Helen pulled out a file folder. Edward, I have all the original documents right here. Your signature as primary account holder. Tyler's as secondary. You have every right to do this. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate your discretion. Of course, Edward. I'll process this immediately. Tyler's access will be frozen by noon today. He won't be able to make any transactions, access any funds, or even see the account balances. Perfect. I stood up. Merry Christmas, Helen. Merry Christmas, Edward. And I hope Tyler learns a valuable lesson. Tyler's world collapsed in less than 24 hours. His mortgage payment bounced, triggering a cascade of financial penalties. His luxury Lexus was repossessed from his driveway. His business partners, alerted by the frozen accounts, dissolved their agreements and fled. His clients, hearing whispers of financial instability, canceled their contracts. He was placed on administrative leave by his real estate firm. He was facing late fees on his mortgage, car payment, and credit cards. His wife, Jennifer, was staying at her sister's house, too embarrassed to face their neighbors. And Tyler finally understood that his father wasn't the problem. Tyler was the problem. Tyler showed up at my house Thursday evening. He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. Dad, can we talk? I invited him in, made coffee. We sat at my kitchen table. Tyler, how are you doing? Dad, I lost everything. Tell me what happened. Tyler explained everything. The canceled clients, the dissolved partnership, the administrative leave, Jennifer staying at her sister's house. Dad, I didn't know about the money. I swear I didn't know you were supporting my business. Tyler, in 8 years you never wondered where the extra money came from? I thought I was just really good at real estate. You are good at real estate, Tyler, but your expenses exceeded your income every single month. Tyler put his head in his hands. Dad, I'm so sorry about Saturday night. What are you sorry about? I'm sorry I embarrassed you. I'm sorry I said those things about your money. Tyler, what else? I'm sorry I left you walking in the snow. Tyler thought for a moment. I'm sorry I didn't appreciate everything you've done for me. Tyler, do you understand now how your business actually worked? Yeah, I understand. Explain it to me. Tyler took a deep breath. You've been covering my monthly shortfalls since I started the business. Without your support, I would have failed years ago. That's right. And instead of being grateful, I told people I built my success without help. Tyler, why do you think I never corrected you? I don't know. Because I wanted you to feel confident. I wanted you to believe in yourself. Tyler looked up at me. But I wasn't really successful, was I? Tyler, you were successful at generating income. You just weren't successful at managing expenses. Dad, can you teach me how to really manage money? I can, but first we need to establish some new ground rules. Anything. I pulled out a notepad and wrote down 3 rules. Rule 1. Mutual respect. You don't speak down to me, and I won't speak down to you. Agreed. Agreed. Rule 2. Financial honesty. We discuss your real income and real expenses every month. Agreed. Agreed. Rule 3. Earned independence. I'll continue supporting your business, but we create a plan for you to become truly self-sufficient within 2 years. Dad, what if I can't become self-sufficient in 2 years? Then you'll learn to live within your actual means. Tyler nodded. Dad, what about my accounts? Tomorrow morning, we go to the bank together. Helen Morrison will restore your access, and the monthly transfers will continue. But Tyler, you'll know exactly where the money comes from, and you'll say, thank you. I will, Dad. Tyler, I also want something else from you. What? I want you to call Jennifer. Apologize to her. Bring her home. She's embarrassed to face the neighbors. Tyler, the neighbors aren't the problem. Your behavior was the problem. You're right. Call your business clients. Apologize for Saturday night. Take responsibility. What if they don't forgive me? Then you'll rebuild with new clients. But Tyler, you rebuild with character this time. Tyler wiped his eyes. Dad, do you forgive me? Tyler, I love you. I always have. But love doesn't mean accepting disrespect. I understand. Tyler, your generation does understand modern finance. But my generation understands something your generation sometimes forgets. What's that? Relationships are the foundation everything else builds on. Money, career, success. All of it depends on the relationships that support it. Tyler looked around my modest kitchen. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. How much money do you really have? I smiled. Enough to support my son's business for 8 years without affecting my retirement. But you drive an old car, live in a small house. Tyler, those were choices. I chose to invest in your future instead of upgrading my lifestyle. Dad, I'm so sorry. Tyler, don't be sorry. Be grateful and be respectful. That's all any parent really wants. Friday morning, we went to the bank together. Helen Morrison restored Tyler's account access and explained exactly how business finances work. Tyler learned about primary account holders, secondary signers, and financial responsibility. He also learned that respect and gratitude aren't old-fashioned values. They're the foundation of every successful relationship, including the one between a father and son. If you're watching this, let me know where you're from and whether you think Tyler learned his lesson.